When it comes to the most important roles in a 7 to 8 figure business, what are you looking at in a team, and who do you think are the most important people inside of that team?
Oh, this is such an awesome question. And I really wanted to talk about that, to be honest, because on a lot of our brands, we are downsizing the teams right now. And I just think it's such a interesting time doing that, because most of the time we were just building up all of these headcounts and doing some pizza parties in the office and having ping pong tables and stuff. And for some time, maybe because we're introverted, I always resented those notions in building up those awesome teams and something. But right now, everything is going to be collapsed and consolidated. And I talked about that recently at a mastermind, how our ideal team structure is looking like. And we're actually making the pivot on a lot of our brands right now. I think a 8-figure brand can be run on 3 departments, basically. If you see the product as a separate compartment that I'm not talking about, because most of the time the product side, is so different on every business. It's just 1 or 2 product guys most of the time. If you're a food startup, it's way different than if you're like a consumable product. So I'm not talking about the product side right now. We can't change that on the brand you're running. But if you're looking at all of the other team structures, I think you need, first of all, on the acquisition side, you need 1 or 2 very skilled media buyers who can run full stack, who are not doing just Facebook or just Google. You need 1 or 2 full stack media buyers there. The best thing would be if the founder or like one guy on your team validated those channels at first before bringing in a media buyer, because then he can just be connected to like the working potential on your side. So he doesn't have to start something from scratch. So he can actually judge his performance from day one. So 1 or 2 media buyers, one doing Facebook and TikTok, the other one doing Google and Pinterest or something like that, is more than enough, basically, if you just have 2 media buyers on your team. And if the founder is a media buyer, he can be one of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or if you have 2 co-founders, I totally see that. 2 media buyers is more than enough right now. The second department would be your CRM side. I am totally seeing customer relationship management as a growing department in a company. And I totally see one guy or one girl, respectively, being the head of customer relationship management. And what this person is doing is digging into your data, surveying your customers, looking at how the products are sold, looking what kind of bundles we're doing, looking what kind of customer journey is there, and doing the strategy in how to improve that. We often see one person underneath them, which is someone helping implement the stuff, like doing the email integration, doing the SMS stuff, writing the emails, doing the email designs and something like this. Just an all-rounder doing the strategy that was made up like above them. Having them basically could make sense at a certain scale. And you, of course, have 1 or 2 customer support reps that are working on the customer support. They are reporting to your CRM manager because he is the one or she is the one. I'm not doing like the gender right now here. I'm just naming it in a way that it's easier to say for me. Because the CRM manager has to know what the common customer support problems are in order to improve conversions on the whole process. So it just makes sense having customer support report to you, the CRM guy. And the third department is definitely the creative side. Because if you're running Facebook or TikTok or YouTube, you have to have the creative in place. I really dislike having too much of the creative process outside of the company, because this is the best this is like the separation between the competitors. So if you're
that was
using
something I was going to ask you. Do you just recommend having it in person, in-house person doing that, or just?
Yeah. So most of the time it's a hybrid structure, like a hybrid structure. You should aim for having a creative strategist in your company. And the creative strategist is basically someone who knows how to interpret data that the media buyers are giving them, and someone who knows how like the editing and sourcing of creatives works. So I really like having the top-down approach there, having a creative strategist at the top, and then having maybe content sourcing and content editing underneath them. Yeah. So that can come from different places. I mean, it can come from content creators, it can come from influencers, it can come from editors and stuff. It's just like the whole conglomerate is managed by the creative strategist, because he has to translate the learnings from the media buying onto the next iteration for the creative department. And if you are working on too many projects right now, like working with influencers, sourcing your content, doing your own content, you're just losing scope of what you actually have. And most of the time, the 7-figure brands we experience don't have a content problem. They basically just have a content process problem because they have no idea what actually the content is that is needed in their case.